But this guy's making 200 grand a year, and he says, I'm gonna put my future in the hands of the guy that has 2 employees. And I was like, what? And he really, like, there's trust there. He's watching all these guys' videos. He's talking about them. And I realized all of a sudden, like, he trusts this guy. He feels like he knows this guy, even though it's just this guy's content. He hasn't met this guy. He doesn't know anything about this guy.
So I want to get into what you've done to really build the brand. You touched on it earlier, but I love the fact that, you know, you stayed at a certain level, obviously, you know, for a number of different reasons, but it seems like you really took your time to make sure that you locked in on the service, make sure it was as exceptional as it could be, focusing on the brand. You were focusing on delivering a quality output, whatever that looked like. And the experience that people will have. And a lot of that, I think, in many ways, especially in the world of branding and marketing and trying to grow a business, sometimes people look at that and they, like you said, like they want to put up a sign and say, hey, I'm open for business. But the brand is usually reinforced in how you treat that customer day in, day out, and the consistency. And so you took the time to do that, but then there was kind of that next level where it's just like, okay, now we need to start putting out content. And I love what you share with me around how you've really been able to grow your content game quite a bit, specifically on YouTube, because you went from, which is good to start with, right? You went from 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers, right?
Yeah. 5,000.
And now you're over 230,000. And in a relatively short period of time. So what was that switch? Like what was the game changer for you?
Yeah, so the last, 34 days, we added 130,000 people. Yeah. So the big switch that we said, hey, I got to go heavy on content is I was talking to a franchise lead, and we spend a lot of money to get these franchise leads with meta ads, right? And talking to him, and this is a sharp dude. He's managing a car lot, right? So he's making this is what he's saying. He's making between 170 and 220 a year, right? So that's a hard position. Now he's working 80, 90 hours a week to make that. And so he hates his life. And he's like, I want to do something else. I've been following dog trainers on YouTube, watching dog training videos all the time. I like training with my dog. I narrowed it down between Tip Top, opening a franchise with you guys, and going to this other guy to learn how to train and then doing it myself. And he mentioned the other guy who I'd heard of, but didn't really know that much about. Right? And I'm like, okay, so I go to his channel, and it's like 2 million subscribers, and I go to his website, and he's got 2 employees, and he trains out of his house. Well, so a lot of our locations start out of their house too. It's not a big deal. But this he's making 200 grand a year, and he says, I'm gonna put my future in the hands of the guy that has 2 employees. And I was like, what? And he really, like, there's trust there. He's watching all these guys' videos. He's talking about them. And I realized all of a sudden, like, he trusts this guy. He feels like he knows this guy, even though it's just this guy's content. He hasn't met this guy. He doesn't know anything about this guy. Like, this guy might only train 3 dogs a month. He has no idea. He might be training on YouTube, and all his income is monetization, and he's training his neighbor's dogs. He doesn't have a legitimate business, it doesn't seem. And he ended up not going with us. And I was like, wow. Dude, I've got like 32 people at corporate. We have real marketing agencies we work with. And so I'm like, this is unbelievable. And the thing that blew my mind is I'm like, okay, a lot of what you see on social media, whatever, it's not real. But like, this guy was sharp. He was sharp. He was not dumb. Very, very intelligent guy. So I was like, all right, full court press. All right, full shot. Everyone, shots on goal immediately. Full court press on YouTube. YouTube's second biggest search engine. That's what we're going for first. And then we'll go TikTok next. So full court press, and we started throwing up content and seeing what worked. And when we started putting up content, then we could kind of see what worked, what didn't, and then we just kept putting up more, and I'm like, all right, well, respond to every single person as fast as you can, poke the trolls, right? Hate bait the trolls, and just get the comments on there as fast as you can and engage with people. And we just kept putting up content. And then now we're starting to get in a groove. And so I have 2 people that basically 6 out of their 8 hours a day, they're working on videos. They're working on editing content.
Yeah, it's like that.
And so now that's why our channel is just like, whoop. And so really we grew it. We started growing the subscriber base with shorts. And then now we're starting to focus more on that long content to build that trust and engagement.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode of the Heavy on Brand podcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. If you need more information on all things marketing and branding, check us out at thecarbonthread.com. Until next time, stay heavy.